Hi, this is the Chief Archivist of Lave Station, Commander Phoenix of Fire, otherwise known as Colin Ford, and you're listening to the Loose Screw Podcast, otherwise known as Hillbilly Banjo Redneck Radio. Yeehaw!
Hey guys, it is March 26, 2020. This is Loose Screws, and I am your host, Ty Worsham. We have a very interesting show for you guys this evening. With me, of course, is my two co-pilots, as usual. I got Community Manager and General Awesome Soldier, Commander Kaizen. How's it going there, Bubba?
Hey there, brother. I'm doing good. I'm flying spaceships, and man, do we have some news.
And also with us this evening is our walking, talking, badass sound engineer, JN Tracks, and Distant Screws. I've already fucked it up, y'all.
This is fine. This is what should happen when I come around.
For the record, every time you say walking, talking, badass, I'm just picturing somebody talking through their pants.
Oh. Is it better or is it worse?
Little column B.
Hello, everyone. Interesting times, and I'm all out of beer.
So last week we didn't have much of an episode because it was a very shitty week. And this week was not much better, but we're doing a better spin on it this week because things have happened. So we'll go through some things first. So first of all, I want to give a great big shout out to Patches McFluffy because apparently he found a baby on the side of the road. No, he had a baby. I guess he didn't have a baby. I guess his wife had a baby. But anyway, he had a baby.
So basically what happened was Patches and his wife kissed and made a baby.
Oh, that's what happens. All right. Thanks for filling me in, man. Apparently, they named him Finley Tyrville Kai Trax. So,
that kid is fucked.
Yeah, that kid's fucked.
No, that's going to be a really, really cool name in like 16 years.
There's a good chance that Tyrville Kai Trax ends up being like a badass. So, he could be walking, talking
badass.
Yeah, walking, talking. Yeah. So, big O congratulations to them. He actually posted two or three pictures on our general channel of the baby taking a bottle, I think it was, and it was super cool because I have never really been around a baby that much. So
yeah, man, that was a cute kid and more hair than Ty.
Yeah, totally more hair than me. It's kind of crazy. But it was
it's almost cool. Just like a very small human.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of expected, them to be like a robot, but, I have a nephew and I have a niece, but I was kind of in and out of them as a baby. So anyway, and being in or out of being around them is what I mean.
Just between the kissing to make a baby thing and then the robot comment, I'm wondering, how did you pass biology?
With an A, motherfucker. The other bit of news is that I have a couple of friends kind of in the gaming community, and one of them he actually was my employee at Best Buy for a number of years. One of my better employees. Anyway, so he left Best Buy, got married and moved to Tahlequah, Oklahoma, and I'm probably butchering the pronunciation, Tahlequah, Oklahoma. And he started up, about 2 years ago, his own business called Start, which is a LAN gaming cafe store. And it is one of the better stores I've ever seen. It's really awesome. But he told me this week that it's closed, which sucks because of all the virus bullshit running around. But I thought it was really cool that he decided to run folding software on all of his gaming PCs. Yeah. So the folding software, for those of y'all that don't know, is kind of like big gigantic software used to research cures and treatments for cancer and for all kinds of diseases, but a lot of it right now is being used for the COVID-19 virus stuff.
Yeah, so just to jump in real quick, foldathome.org is the service that you're talking about there. Canon Research, the Hull Seals, Down to Earth Astronomy, many others are doing it. And what it is that the process of figuring out protein folding for like genetic anomalies or whatever different testing that they're doing is a very, very sort of computing power intensive process. And much like they used to do where they would use a bunch of people's computers to run cycles in the off cycle or to run while they're asleep for SETI, they're now doing this through foldathome.org.
So he's had all of his running doing this, and because they're all really good gaming PCs, it actually eats away at large chunks of the processes that they need. Because
lots of compute cycles.
Yeah, a lot of compute cycles got to be done to actually completely figure out how they need to fold proteins or what exactly they do. Apparently, Kai knows a hell of a lot more about it than I do. So, but he wanted me to mention it on this week's show because of the fact that he, said, hey, if you don't know, you can use your computer sitting there not doing nothing, which, if you're like me, you're still going to work. Then you can sit there and actually help out things. So anyway.
Yeah, I only know about it because for Elite Week, like Down to Earth Astronomy did like a 12-minute long video explaining it in detail. And then, like I said, I've covered it for the Hull Seals and Fuel Rats and Canon, and everybody's doing it.
Right. And So you can find his website at startland.center. And if you guys are in Tahlequah, Oklahoma, or just in Oklahoma, when all this shit's over, go visit him. He's got a badass store there, man. It's one of the best stores I've ever been to for gaming stuff. And I don't just say that because he's a buddy of mine. I have another buddy who runs another store. You know who you are, and your store sucks, and I've told you as much. So...
Whoops.
All right.
He's got four PCs. All right. I'm just saying that's not a cafe.
Sick burn for that guy that doesn't listen to our show.
I've already told him in person. So anyway. So let's go through some Discord shout. Oh, let's do this first. We'll do Discord shout outs in a minute. Let's talk about distant screws real quick. I want to go through that real quick.
Distant screws.
So you know what I didn't do was pull up the Distant Screws expedition page.
Do you know what I did do?
What'd you do?
Pull up the Distant Screws expedition page.
Well, run us through the numbers then.
So the numbers currently are, let's start at the top. 73 participants. We have 3 abandonments. Okay. I think that number has gone down. So that's interesting. It was definitely 4 at one point. That must mean when somebody like unsigns up or something.
It could be that, or we've seen some weird wonky shit with the EDSM and ED discovery. So it could have been that like somebody like, visited LHS 317 twice, and then so it said they were done, so they like quit it and then restarted it or something.
It keeps track of success separately, and it keeps track of like deaths and self-destructs separately. But I don't know very much about their back end. Yeah, I think I did make the system be a little wonky by making the start and end points and 1 or 2 of the in-between points repeat. As the same system, and that caused some issues. For me, everything has been fine, but I might have been almost the only person who actually like took off from LHS 317 and didn't like do anything else in the meantime, because I had this like schedule where I wasn't really playing except on the stream. Anyway, so it's probably my fault, whatever. Sorry, everyone, for the trouble. Okay, so the expedition's been going on for 23 days, and there are almost 60 days left in expedition time for you all to complete. I did end up pushing that back. I don't know if this ever got said on the show. I ended up pushing the return date back one more week, just in case some people were straggling behind, because it allowed me to. Someone asked, and I was like, sure, I can do that. So there have been 30,516 jumps so far, for a total distance of 2,260,816 light years. We have scanned 181,097 celestial bodies and mapped 4,686. We've used 140,737 tons of fuel and 29,160 probes, and 20 people have died, and 4 of those were on purpose.
Yeah, I think if you take us as an aggregate, we've made it to Andromeda.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of it that way. Wild. Yeah, well, but it says there are 15 successes. I know a few people have posted that they completed the whole thing correctly, but I know there are some other people who found that theirs were marked as success because they visited LHS 317 twice.
I go back one time.
Yeah. And you know, whatever. I mean, I think, Kai, you were running into some issues too and ended up finding ways to edit the your log of the waypoints, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I tried that. It still took away all of my check marks except for the first one. I don't know. Man. I'm going to every one, and in every one of the systems, I'm actually at every waypoint, I am stopping, whether it's worth anything or not. I'm scanning at least one planet so that at some point, if I have to argue with somebody, I can point to them and say, fuck you, I wasn't there. Look at this. I scanned that moon. How could I scan that moon if I wasn't there?
Right. So, yeah, and I don't know, maybe we should poke somebody over at the EDSM Discord and see if they have some answers as to how we can most easily smooth this over for some people. But anyway, yeah, it's been fun. It's been really fun. Lots of people still commenting on how much fun they're having, and I continue to be humbled by how successful it's been. And we're having a lot of fun when we stream, and I know a lot of people are having a lot of fun on other streams where they're ganging up, and yeah, it's really cool. We've seen some spectacular things.
So for the record, Patches McFluffy might be behind everyone else in Water Worlds and Earthlikes Found, but he's ahead of everyone in Babies Found.
Yeah.
Yes.
And big salute, and you know, I don't know, a mournful in memoriam for Anna Barrick, who tried to scoop off of a white dwarf, and yeah, that didn't work out so good.
Yeah, where did he end up getting sent back to?
Well, funny enough, it was just within like half an hour of him leaving. I think it was like Eagles Landing or whatever. So he had just sold all his data and everything. So he really wasn't even all that upset about it. He was like, oh, well, shit happens.
Well, I was wondering I wonder how far away his ship respawned.
Well, he said that he was literally like 20 minutes from leaving a station.
And it
would just send him right back to there. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's not so bad then.
Yeah, that's real fortunate.
Yeah, for the deaths that we have, I wish there was a better way of sort of like somebody could make an annotation or whatever, because I know that several of our deaths have just been people taking shortcuts to get back into the bubble and then like coming back out or whatever. But they didn't do it
as a self-destruct, so it doesn't count as a self-destruct.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
So for me, I'm at SAG-A right now, which is, I believe, our waypoint. Shit, I'm zooming in. Waypoint 24.
Sounds right.
Waypoint 24. But I have no check marks. Like,
really?
past waypoint 10, but it also says I completed it. So
that's what happened. I can tell you exactly what happened, Ty, because the same thing happened to me. What happened was you went back, and when you went back, it said you completed. And as soon as it said you completed, it stopped check marking or whatever, because I had check marks for like 1 through like 17 or 18 or 19. And then it went back and like it finally registered, because it takes a couple of days. It finally registered that I had hit LHS 317 like the second time. And at that point, I got the little congratulations, you're done. And all of my check marks disappeared. So, yeah.
Ouch.
All right. We should. Yeah, it's all right. We'll figure it out. Well, we should get moving with the show.
Speaking of SAG-A, as a reminder, on Tuesday's stream on March 31st, that will be at the SAG-A Black Hole.
Yeah, we will land there, or not land, but you know what I mean. We will.
Let's see you do that shit.
Well, yeah. All right.
Yeah. But we will. That is where we will be having the ceremony with Jello, and to kind of have a little memorial for Evelyn and whatnot, and go from there. I have a big decision to make on that, by the way. I'm really torn because I've never been to Beagle. I took my vet like 2 jumps from Beagle before I lost the jump range to be able to get to Beagle. I'm really tempted to pull a Chig and just go straight up to Beagle. So
well, you're already marked as complete, right? So
yeah, I mean, just take a week, hit up to Beagle. That way I can say I've been to Beagle and come back.
Yeah.
So
Well, on top of that, like, who cares as far as it's saying you're already marked as complete? You still have plenty of time to take a week, head up to Beagle, head back, and still finish it well before the end time. So you could. Oh, yeah. I think I'm going to do that. I'm waiting until after the ceremony, and then after the ceremony, I'm going to hightail it to Beagle. And then do a little, popping around out in that neighborhood. And then I'm going to shoot back to Colonia. And from there, I will pick back up on the expedition and hit the waypoints on the way back.
Sounds good.
One other thing about Jello is, for those of you that don't know, Drew Wagar has his story posted up on the Drew Wagar website. Then you can go there and listen to it. You can read it if you want to. I have started listening to it twice, and I get a little emotional and I have to stop. So I'm going to try to muster through probably tomorrow. So it's a great story from what I've heard so far. So
I'm excited to check it out. Well,
yeah.
I'm excited to probably be in the same boat as you and have to kind of take it a little slow, but that's all right.
So you have a daughter, man. So I could see how that would like. I'm gonna tell you right now. Find like just put your man card in the drawer. So
I don't even claim to have a man card anymore.
So I did the whole story, and it was beautiful and touching. It's called Evelyn's Story. It's available on audiobook, PDF, Mobi, and EPUB. They're free ebooks with donations suggested for the Alberta Children's Hospital Foundation. And you can get it at drewwagar.com/elite-dangerous-saga/Evelyn's-story/. And it's just a really, really beautiful and touching story.
All right. So the other thing I wanted to kind of mention that's kind of semi-elite related is NASA's $1 billion Jupiter probe, which I believe they're calling the Juno probe. Is that correct?
Yes.
That is.
We're starting to see photos back from that, and they are amazing photos. Really amazing.
Absolutely. Science and Nature published the story, and they are dazzling. They not only do they have great pictures of Jupiter, but in particular, they got the great shots of the red spot, which is like a huge storm on the planet's surface. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch of places you can go and check out the. Oh wow, that's interesting.
What now?
All right, so okay. Sorry, my monitor just turned off. Then now it's back. So that's
I was like, what's going on? What do you know that we
sorry.
don't?
Something's interesting. Someone is speaking to Ty, and I can't hear who they are.
I thought it was like, I thought Ty was like, hey, I see somebody on Jupiter.
hey, it's full of stars, y'all.
Yeah, what's that monolith?
No, that was really weird. My secondary monitor turned off. Of course, it's an old monitor. Turned off and turned back on. It scared the shit out of me for just a second there, and that's where I had the notes pulled over. So it scared the shit out of me for a minute there.
All right.
All right. So anyway, I will go through the Discord shout outs real quick.
Do we want to start with the new to Discord or?
Yeah, we'll do that first. Who wants to do that this week? I can do it, or someone else want to do it. I'm completely flexible. I'll do it. Fuck it. All right. So new Discord users, and for anybody that I mispronounced the name, I apologize in advance, and feel free to correct me at any point. Westfield, Hans Dieter. And by the way, these are going back 2 weeks, by the way, so some of y'all may have been on here for a little bit. So Gunternaut, Aladar. But sidebar here, shout out to Gunternaut for reference to Elite Player One. Ready Player One.
Elite Player One.
Elite Player One. That's the sequel. Ready Player One, which is probably my third favorite book of all time. So, anyway, Aladar, Disaster Joe, Maverick, aka Mav, The Bloodline, Blob of Death, Sanderling. Which, if y'all don't know who Sanderling is, he is an amazing flight assist off pilot. I hope to be a quarter good as he is at some point.
The Mad Scotsman.
Is he Scottish?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what he was. I mean, I know he's like, fairyland person, but I wasn't sure what he actually was.
So Primetime Casual just put out a video called The Scotsman this week that because it features his flying.
Ah, okay.
Magnificent.
Turjan, Happy Swodog, Asgata, Raven Harot, Astral Jaeger, which I really hope that's a reference to Pacific Rim, and I want one about Astral Jaeger now.
So in German, Jäger means juice, and Astral Jäger would be star juice.
So is that Jagger or is that Jaeger? Because I thought Jaeger was hunter. Exactly.
Could be.
We'll have to ask a German. So
Could be. Yeah, mine's rusty.
So I think we have some German listeners. So inform us. And yeah, the only reason I know that's because the very beginning of the movie Pacific Rim, it's like kaiju, giant Japanese for giant monster, and then it says Jaeger, German for hunter. And I was like, oh, that's what that means. So it's entirely possible my source is completely inaccurate.
So you're trusting a Hollywood movie.
So my source was from a Marine in Germany who told me that was why it was called Badenjäger, because it was bear juice. But it could be because there was a hunter on the bottle too, because the guy could have been full of shit.
If only there was a website that we could go and Google and find out. But unfortunately, we'll have to Google it and find out.
If they invent one, they should call it Google. All right, we gotta get the last person.
Oh yeah. Tieska. So welcome guys. Welcome everybody.
Welcome.
And if I happen to miss your name, I apologize, but we will get you in. So the shout outs. So there was a few in here. I do my best to keep up with when people hit the cool ship or a big ship or a achievement
cool
game.
Ship.
Yeah, the cool ship. And we all know which one it is. All right. Gotta miss you. But anyway,
the cool ship.
Yeah, the cool
Crate
ship.
Phantom.
Oh, shut your damn mouth. I'm so sick of the Phantom.
The
Anyway,
Imperial Clipper.
the Imperial Corvette.
It's a good ship.
Also known as the Federal Corvette.
All right.
All right. So, NL Hate found a black hole, which means he discovered his first black hole. So that's badass. That was one of the things that took me forever to get my name on. So congratulations to you, bud. Chris Clar 11 found his first water and first Earth-like world. congratulations to you. It took me about 3 years before I found my first Earth-like world, which is weird because I was skipping over a lot. I had to be. And I found it back with the old style scanner too, by the way. So that was interesting. I had to go back out to it when the new one came out so I could go get the scan on it. But anyway, well, he's on round 2. Y'all hear that? All right. So,
Yeah.
Darkest Vim got a cutter for whatever reason, but congratulations to Darkest Vim for getting the ship you wanted. Because I'm a big believer, find the ship you want, not the ship you're supposed to.
Congrats,
But
Dark.
it's still a cutter. It's not a vet. But big shout out to a Bomb Banjo because he got his Corvette. So, and I think he was wanting to go on the expedition, but decided to stay back and finish his federal grind. So congratulations to him, buddy. I'm sure there's other people that have accomplished things that I missed. I can only keep up with so much. I have a job and I do the best I can. So
I would like to give a big shout out to me for being the person on the expedition that has killed the most Thargoids. And I'm a couple beers in, so yeah, I'm going to shout it out.
you may not have killed the most Thargoids. Maybe
Of the expedition? Yes.
I don't know.
Chig was
may
done
have
before the expedition started, bro.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give you that.
During the date boundaries.
Oh, shit. Episode's all over the place, y'all. We're just going all completely off the thing here.
It's all good.
All right. So, story time / TIE Spies. So, a couple weeks ago, I asked you guys to link the largest system you found. So, we'll go through the list, and then we'll talk about what we're doing this week. So, Jalaman had 2 submissions, a 51 and a 64. Meg 81 with 67. NL Hate with 75. Big Daddy GX55 66. Dubs racking in a 78, which I think technically you were with him when he discovered that tracks, but I'm not 100% on that.
Could have been.
Roughneck 57 with 49. And by the way, that looks like that he actually took that screenshot in VR from the way it looks. So that was kind of cool that he did that in VR. He's not. I don't like to explore in VR, but I like to fly in VR. I know that sounds a little weird, but you're exploring in VR. But that's really cool. So. But the winner of the submissions is RotoGeek with 103. So, congratulations to RotoGeek. I got nothing to give you, but you win. So,
Cheers, RotoGeek.
Hooray.
For this week, I want to see the highest gravity world that you found. What planet has the highest G's? I found now this is be one you found. Don't just Google the planet with the highest G. Anybody can do that.
Cheater.
Just like show me one that you found, and if it's one that you found in scan or whatever, then submit it by going to the screenshot on the left panel or going to the system. What's it called? System screen. Shit. What's it called?
What part of what are you trying to explain?
I don't know.
I don't understand what you're getting at. You screenshot with F10.
Yeah. Okay. You take a screenshot of the system display with the planet.
Oh, the system map.
Right. The system map. Jesus.
I didn't know what you were trying
map.
to. Yeah. Because it'll show the info there.
You're right.
For the
right.
gravity.
So,
Yeah.
Right. So take that screenshot and submit it. And if you could write down what the G is, because it's entirely possible Old Man Ty won't be able to see it. He'll have to zoom in on his phone, and no one wants Ty to have to zoom in on his phone. Or I had to do something horrible today. I had to enable large text on my phone, y'all.
Oh my God.
I'm officially an old man. It's horrible. Well, these screens are getting so high def, man. I mean, it's just craziness. So, all right.
That's really something.
Yeah, it's something. All right. I think that's all of the what's it called? All of the
Discords.
Yeah, all of the stuff.
Or no, we were. Jeez. I gotta stop talking.
All right, so let's get down to the cool thing that happened, because we had a cool thing happen.
So are we gonna do Kai's question?
Oh yeah, Kai's question. I didn't. Yeah. Kai's
I think
question,
we need to not let Ty smoke weed before we do the show, because
Well,
I am exhausted.
if
Okay.
Ty feels anything like me, it's so weird how like needing to stay home in your house has made me feel like I have so much less free time. It's just amazing. So if he feels anything like me, I get it. But
like
there's yeah.
Like, okay, so I'm still going to work, but I'm basically opening a new police station right now, and there is so much shit to do because everything that was supposed to be done wasn't done. So I'm having to go back and make up things or go back and fix things that were never done because, oh yeah, that's done. No, it wasn't. It was never done. So I was supposed to only do like 5 things, and I have a list of like 30 things, and I only got like 20 of them done so far this week. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's been my thing. So Kai's question.
So last week's Kai's question we covered during the Benedetti interview, so we're going to skip that. This week's Kai's question, which we did put in on the interview, was, what module would you want added to the game? I said a recon camera suite, and they could have follow-on mission capabilities. So, you know, you go to do the first mission where you do a flyby pass, you take the pictures, you go in, you turn it in, they give you a follow-on mission to come back and assault the base or extract some minerals or do some kind of a thing that you had, you know, previously reconned. Ties was the nested modules. If you have a 6 slot, you could put a 6, you could put 2 3s, you could put 3 2s, you could put 6 1s, you could put 2 1s and a 4, any variation thereof. And Trax, yours was something to do with like a science recon thing, and you said you had some more thoughts on that. So go ahead and elaborate.
Sure. I thought about it a little bit more. I think what I'm imagining is like some kind of a science or research module or scanner that would allow us to do something more. It would almost be like opening up a new sort of area of gameplay, like separate from mining or exploration or combat or trading or whatever. So like we have like recon limpets or something, but there's very little that you can do with them.
And we already have the composition scanner, so this would have to be something more in depth or different, some different mechanic.
Right. So I'm thinking like the way that the FSS kind of expanded and made more gameplay like the act of simply scanning something, like the composition scanner could be replaced maybe with something that would allow us to do, and I don't know, maybe we're out flying around in Super Cruise and we have something a little bit like the SRV scanner, right? So there's something that you have to follow and know how to read, and you could discover things and then find information about them and some kind of sciencey sort of stuff that would be a different avenue of play. It could have missions involved with it. I don't know. Could be a whole other corner of the game.
I'm just seeing Spock bent over with his head in that little thing. That
little, the view tube.
that to me, I always think of whenever you see the NFL refs, they put their head underneath the thing to watch the replay. It's one of those, but then it'll bring up a separate screen like the FSS screen, and then you do some sort of interaction there. Yeah, I dig it.
I get that visual. For me, it was Professor Farnsworth with the smelloscope.
Right on.
Anybody?
Yes.
Anybody? Okay.
I get it.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah, that's the gist of it.
You know, I kind of like the idea of them taking the composition scanner and basically doing what you said, but expanding it. And I like the idea of them turning it to like a almost like a mini game sort of, where you have to kind of sort elements into, you know, I don't know how you would do it off the top of my head, but I like the idea of having some science, like science shit. Yeah, science, bitch. You know, science that shit up. I'm all for that.
There's so much out here in the galaxy that could be measured. Let's make that part of the game. I don't know.
Yeah, man. I dig it. And I dig the idea, going back to my previous statement of like, I would like to meet aliens that we don't just shoot or whatever. I dig the idea of coming across flora or fauna or minerals or anything that we don't just instantly shoot it and then break a piece off and scoop it up and you put it in your thing. Like,
right.
I dig the idea of like, oh, you got to scan it this way and modulate the frequencies and try to do some other thing in order to like get meaningful information, not just point and shoot.
Yeah.
It would also be kind of cool to like if it was, we already have like space animals. So what if we could launch like a research probe or something, and then have it actually, like take a sample of it instead of just shooting them to get the sample or something,
Right. Yeah. I mean, there should just be more we could do with the thing that we get, right? Like the sample or the measurement or whatever. Obviously I don't have this all fleshed out. I just think like that's an area of the game that doesn't have any gameplay in it right now.
Right on, man.
Yeah, I think for this to be a space game, I kind of feel like the game is a little light on science stuff, and I would like a little bit more science stuff. I don't quite know how you do that without a science degree, but I feel like that there's enough smart people at Frontier to be able to like, oh yeah, we can science that shit. We can science the hell out of it.
Yeah, man. I mean, in fairness to them, I think they have an amazing sort of physics model for the game, and they have amazing stuff. But we are just getting to the next phase of the game where you're getting past the initial flight model and getting more into the realm of, hopefully in the next 2 to 3 years, into the realm of things like atmospheric landings and more sort of meaningful interactions with planets and hopefully, flora and fauna. So yeah, I think that's a perfect thing to put on the horizon for stuff to come.
Yep.
Okay, right on. So, commanders, write in. Tell us, what do you think? What would you like to be a new module added to the game?
All right. So, are we ready for the big thing now? Is everybody ready?
Is everybody ready?
I was born ready, brother.
All right. So, today, March 26th, Mr. Stephen Benedetti posted a wonderful, wonderful little post on the forums, and it is titled Fleet Carriers Announcement Content Reveal. I'm going to read this word for word here. So, greetings, commanders. I won't be able to do it with his cool little Scottish accent. Oh, let me try a Scottish accent with it. Greetings, commanders.
Maybe don't do that. Yeah, maybe don't. Maybe don't.
We're thrilled to announce that the first look at the upcoming Fleet Carrier update will be coming to your screens on Thursday, April the 2nd. Lead server developer Dav Stott and game designer Luke Betterton will join us on a special video to talk us through what these vast vessels are and how they'll be shaking up the galaxy. Since the initial reveal of fleet carriers, we've examined the concept of predefined loadouts and decided to invest additional time to ensure that fleet carriers offer the same level of flexibility and customization as other ships within Elite Dangerous. We've done this by adding more loadout options to make your carrier unique and allow for player-to-player interaction like you've never seen before in Elite Dangerous. Squirming in your cockpit chair, wanting to know more details. I didn't read that with any sort of question thing at the end. Here is some key information on fleet carriers, but for the entire content reveal, tune in to our pre-recorded stream on YouTube, April 2nd at 1800 hours UTC. That's 6 p.m. for people who don't know military time. Although we won't be live, our team will be there in the chat to answer any questions that you may have. Here are the bullet points. One of your most frequent questions about fleet carriers was, how much do they cost? Fleet carriers will be a lucrative investment, costing 5 billion credits at launch. Fleet carriers are individually owned and feature 16 landing pads of varying sizes for other players to dock at. Fleet carriers have a new fuel, tritium, to jump from system to system. Fleet carriers have a max jump range of 500 light years at one time, with the ability to jump whenever the owner won't. I'm redneck kicking in there. However, they will have a build-up and cooldown period between jumps. You can manage your carrier's finances by setting tariffs and adjusting the buying and selling prices for commodities traded in its market. As it currently stands, we're aiming to launch fleet carriers We're aiming to launch the Fleet Carrier update in June, and we'll be calling all commanders to experienced fleet commanders as both visitors and owners in 2 upcoming public betas before the update is live. The first beta will begin April 7th for PC only, and the second beta, which will be launched on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation, will take place in May. Please note that there is a chance that these timeframes may change slightly in the coming weeks, but we'll keep you up to date on the specific times, dates, and instructions. See you there, commanders. So let me start off by saying, Kai, you nailed it. $5 billion, man.
Well, I mean, there are a bunch of people that guessed in that range or whatever. Yeah, man, there's a lot of interesting things. I think what we should do is we should kind of take this. I didn't want to say a word. I let you read the whole thing through. We should go line by line now, though, and really pick it apart. What do you think?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was wanting to do, too.
Sounds good.
Right on.
This is the most information we've gotten about Fleet Carrier since, what was it, November with that video way back when?
Yeah. And apparently some things have changed. So let's look at it. So the first paragraph, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
The only thing that's really of note is April 2nd. Okay, fine. And then Dav Stott and Luke Betterton. So they're going to be there. Okay. That's pretty much, but the first paragraph, there's not really much to sort of pull through. The second paragraph, since the initial reveal of fleet carriers, we have examined the concept of predefined loadouts and decided to invest additional time to ensure that fleet carriers offer the same level of flexibility and customization as other ships. So to me, now you could read this, you could probably make a dozen different arguments, but what I'm reading this as them saying is this is sort of in part why they were delayed. They had their idea that they gave us before, because if you remember, when we were expecting to get fleet carriers in December, we were expecting to get 8 types. You were going to get the bounty hunter, the pirate, the smuggler, the explorer, the search and rescue, yada, yada, yada. And what they're saying here is we looked at that and we were underwhelmed. We didn't like it. We didn't think you were going to like it. So we did some different hoodoo on it and we got something else. And from what they're saying, it's the same level of flexibility and customization as other ships, which means to me, now, this is just speculation, but what I'm saying, the same abilities or flexibility and customization as other ships, that means they have some sort of a system or modules or something in there. So it's like my fleet carrier can be an exploration and mining fleet carrier, or my fleet carrier can be combat and exploration or something, because you have modules or doohickeys, widgets of some kind that you buy and put in there. And you can say like, I mean, okay, like just trying to look at this logically, I don't think there's any way that they're going to let you have everything. So just the same way as like, if you want to have a good, let's say, okay, I have a cutter or a vet. Like I can make a mining vet, or I could make obviously a vet is more suited towards combat, but you could make some hybrid builds with like a cutter where you say like, hey, part of this is for mining, part of this is for trucking. Like it could do some of both, or it has, capabilities that go along both routes. So that's super, super exciting to me, because it's like, and maybe answers the mystery of like, well, why did you wait? Like, to me, if they had a product that was subpar that they could have put out in December, and they looked at it and said, this is not going to knock anybody's socks off. We want to take it back and do some more work on it and make it more exciting. And as a result, we have to wait an extra couple of months, but what we end up with is a product that is way more sort of controllable by me. Like I can say like, I want mine to do this, this, and this, not just what you say like is the, I don't want to buy a la carte. I want to buy, or what is it, I want to pick my own stuff off the menu. That's super, super exciting. What do you guys think about that paragraph?
Trax, go first, bud.
I think if I had to analyze that, I guess I would say the idea that the ship itself was customized to a task was either onerous to code or not very fun in game, or both. And the change was like, you know what? Maybe the carrier itself doesn't need to have like, you know, oh, I'm gonna buy like the way they had different looks and stuff. I'm trying to think back to that. Like,
it was the tender ships or the support ships that
support ships. Yeah, I never really
it.
understood that, and I what that was, and I felt like it wasn't really well explained at the time anyway. So maybe I misunderstood it, but obviously it was just a tease. But like that whole thing, I didn't really get. So maybe modifying the ship itself is not really what's going on, or at least it just didn't. You know, it locked you in. I'm picturing you buying something, you know, that cost 5 billion credits, and then, oh man, I wish I'd gotten an exploration one now. You know.
Well, since you mentioned the tender ships, I'm going to point out now we only have some information here, but one thing I don't see any mention of on this page is the tender ships. So maybe that's part of the rework, or maybe it's just that's about something that's going to come out on April 2nd.
Well, I mean, even though they don't mention it, they didn't really talk a lot about the tender ships beforehand. What I'm wondering here is because it says we're adding more loadout options to make your carrier unique. What I draw from that is that we're going to have a bunch of loadout options for the tender ship. Like we're going to have, instead of just having the pirate or the mercenary or whatever, you're going to be able to have all of the options of all of them put together in one box, so to speak.
Okay. Well, all of them? Like that seems way overpowered. Unless there has to be some balance at that point.
Yeah,
like
I mean, maybe not all of them. Maybe it's like maybe before they're like, all right, so you can buy a pirate ship or an explorer ship. Well, maybe it's like, well, now we're going to give you. I mean, just because the way this game is, and this is me just guessing here. This game is modular, like in the loadout screen and whatnot. So I'm thinking, well, maybe it's like you have 5 slots. You can drag, from your list of the 9 options, you can drag 5 over or something,
Yeah, I mean, they have that mechanic as part of the game that we're used to already, so we could be reusing some of that kind of feel and UI and stuff.
So you're thinking like we could have a tender ship that says like, oh, I've got my tender ship does mining and bounty hunting and exploration, and Trax's does bounty hunting and search and rescue and smuggling, and Ty's does, whatever. 3 other things. And it's 3 things or 5 things or however many things, but not all of the things.
Right.
Like that just seems sort of like, wow, that would be crazy powerful. Unless there's some other way that we don't know to balance it out.
Right.
Well, look at the last line of that paragraph, though. It says,
that's what I was wanting to talk about here. So.
And allow for player-to-player interaction like you've never seen before in Elite Dangerous, which to me, holy shit. Like, okay, what do you mean by that? Like I'm reminded of the Brucey bonus. I'm reminded of him saying, that like we will interact in ways that we've never done before and new and novel mechanics. And I'm like, okay, whoa, okay.
Okay. Well, let me just say this, because I'm gonna kind of break around here a little bit. So you take the Brucey bonus. You take this statement here, allow for player-to-player interaction like you've never seen before, and you take the last bullet point. You can manage your carrier's finances by setting tariffs.
Well, so, not just that. Finish that sentence.
Yeah, and adjusting the buying and selling prices for commodities traded in its market. Which that right there to me, because that's a telling thing.
So if you're adjusting the prices of the commodity, and we're jumped ahead, we're not there at that point yet, but if you're adjusting the commodities in the market prices, that means so who are you selling your commodities or buying your commodities from? It has to either be NPCs or other player characters. So if it's NPCs, that seems a little weird that they would let us set our prices, because I mean, obviously, then my price policy is going to be I buy everything for 1 credit and I sell everything for 1 billion credits. And if the NPCs still come and do the trades, like that seems kind of broken to me. When you say you can set the prices for commodities, that seems to me like you're talking about for other players to buy and sell. And if they're putting in this, that means player market. Like, or, I mean, we don't have all the information. So it's like, I don't want to overhype and then have people be like, you lied to me. But like, the implication to me there is player market.
Yeah.
It sounds that way.
Especially when you tie that in with interactions like you've never seen before, player to player. Like, okay, you put A plus B together.
Right. So, like saying that there's a commodities market, the only way commodities markets have ever interacted is with players up till now. So either you're adding NPCs can interact with player markets, and since it's on my carrier, now I'm the merchant instead of the ship, or
which that could be.
Which could be, but it's either that or players can trade with each other, which means credits for in-game objects like commodities. So that's player market.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's big. I
So
know the pilot's going to be happy.
So there's something else that goes along with this though that we're kind of skipping over. So if they're in a situation where they're putting in, because basically what they're saying here is buying and setting tariffs and adjusting buying and selling prices for commodities traded in its market. Its market has to be some sort of player market because that's what we're thinking here. Well, what are you selling? Are you selling the cargo off your ship?
So you got to look at those as two separate things.
Hold on. So are you selling the cargo off your ship? Or are you selling cargo that's on the fleet carrier? Because you're not just going to sit there and dock and like, well, I have 700 of these things. I mean, are you going to? I think we can glean that the fleet carrier is going to have some storage from this.
Maybe. I think maybe. Here's the thing, though. Yeah. They could handle it by saying that it has storage and that you draw from that storage, or they could handle it by saying that the market itself has storage. You don't have it, but the market has it, and
like not directly addressable.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that.
Yeah,
but like, but I see your point, and I like where you're going because you know me. For a year now, or for a long time, for as long as we've been doing these interviews, I've been telling everybody like they're going to have storage, and everybody's been saying, no, they're not. You're kidding yourself. And I'm like, they're going to have storage, man. So like, I go back to, and I know this is now gone, but the idea of when they said, hey, we're going to have a mining fleet carrier, and we're going to have these trading fleet carriers. And to me, I was always like, well, what the hell are you going to do with a mining fleet carrier? Like, I'm going to jump 500 light years out, mine up just enough that I can fill up a T9 and then come back? Like, that seems like a waste.
Yeah. Like, it has to have, in that context, right, it has to have storage that isn't unlimited, or it would be...
Yeah, it can't be unlimited. Yeah. There has to be some limit of some sort. But the question is that limit abstract and you don't have any access to it, where they say, oh, the limit is just that the market has storage, but you don't? Or is that limit concrete and we have direct access to it? That's a whole other thing. But the other thing, and again, we're sort of jumping down, but still, that you brought up the idea of tariffs. So tariffs, to me, you could break those out into several different categories. Number one, a tariff would be I'm charging you a tax on, because that's all tariff means, is a tax. I'm charging you a tax on everything that's bought and sold through my market. But if you notice, it says by setting tariffs and adjusting the buying and selling prices of the commodities market. It didn't say by setting tariffs on the commodities. It said by setting tariffs and, as a separate sort of idea, selling the prices for the commodities market. So the tariffs could also be, I'm going to charge you to land on my base, as Shan was saying in our Discord earlier when he was talking about it. It could be, I'm going to charge you to refuel. I'm going to charge you to buy limpets. I'm going to charge you to repair. I'm going to charge you to let's try to think. Maybe I'm going to charge you to sell your cartographic data if that's a thing that can be done, or I'm going to charge you, like, we don't know exactly what they do yet. So whatever it is that they do, remember when we were talking about it before, when we said, okay, there's going to be a bounty hunting one. Well, then obviously it seems to me if you have a bounty hunting fleet carrier, you have to be able to sell bounties. Or if you have a exploration fleet carrier, you have to be able to sell cartographic data. What if?
So it seems like, yeah.
What if I set a tariff of saying 50% on cartographic data, and then I park out at Beagle Point, and then people that come out there, they're like, shit, I gotta try to sell this because I don't know if I'm gonna make it back or if I'm gonna blow up. But then you sell your cartographic data, and I set a tariff of 50%, or I set a tariff of a flat amount, or however they figure out how to work it or whatever. Or see. But here's the other thing. We don't know. Does it say that we set the tariffs?
You can manage your carrier's finances
by setting tariffs. Okay, so I get to pick the tariff. So I was just thinking, like, maybe the FDev just says, okay, the tariff for cartographic data is 10% or 12% or whatever. But no, it says we set the tariff. So
that's what makes me think it has to be player.
That has a player
I guess
market.
it doesn't. I guess it still doesn't have to be player market, because you could just like if you set your tariffs too high and you were trying to get NPCs to interact with you, you might get fewer NPCs interacting with you because the tariff was too high.
I guess
So
maybe
it still doesn't have to be player, but I don't know. It's suggestive.
April 2nd. We'll find out. All right, so let's finish. So that finishes us with paragraph 1. Does anybody have anything else on paragraph 1?
No.
Well, actually, there's a period that I want to analyze in there. Now, why isn't that a semicolon? I think that tells us something.
All right. So going to the bullet points then. Oh, no. The next thing. Squirming in your chair, wanting more details. Okay, that's just hype. Here is some key information, fleet carriers. But for the entire content revealed, tune into our pre-recorded stream on YouTube, April 2nd. So I'm guessing they recorded this probably before everybody went on full-on lockdown. They're smart guys. They probably knew, like, oh shit, this is coming. Italy's been on lockdown. Everybody's been on lockdown.
Day before they had to go home or something.
Hold on. So we're making a guess there, because all it says is that Dav Scott, Luke Betterton will join us, but it doesn't say they're in studio. It just says that they pre-recorded it. So we're just guessing.
But why wouldn't they do that live then if they were just the 3 guys sitting around in their boxers, from the house?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
I don't know. But I mean, maybe, you know what? For something this big, it probably would make sense, even if you are 3 guys sitting in your boxers, to do it pre-recorded just in case somebody trips over and says, their cost $5 million. And it's like, no, Bob, they cost $5 billion. Oh, yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, so maybe, whatever. We don't know.
You're right. Bob's the worst.
So 8 o'clock or 6 o'clock at night, although we won't be live, our team will be there in the chat to answer questions that you may have. Let me tell you something.
Okay.
I can tell you for sure, Stephen Benedetti, who has been dodging like a fucking NFL goalie for the last however long, like a year almost or whatever, of like, I cannot talk about that. He is going to be typing so fast, his fingers are going to be bleeding because he's like, I can finally talk about that. He's going to be answering all of those questions. I can just see him with like a beer and bits of a munchie box all over his beard and just happy as shit, just being able to finally talk about everything.
Yep.
All right. So one of our most frequent questions about fleet carriers: how much do they cost? Fleet carriers will be a lucrative investment, costing 5 billion credits at launch. So does that mean that they're going to be like discounted later, or it could also mean that 5 billion at launch could mean, because how they say they're customizable, it could be like when you buy an Anaconda, or you could buy like a cutter for like 200 million, but then when you A-rate it, it's like 1.6 billion. So it could be, when they say that 5 billion is the cost, it could be like, hey, this is the cost for the unmoduled one. If you want to get the full-on, the Thai special, the Tirval special, where he wants it to do everything, it's going to cost you 15 billion or something. Like, we don't know.
Well, that's interesting, because I interpreted the phrase at launch to mean that there was some kind of early bird discount when I first read this. So that
Sign me
obviously
up.
that was a stupid idea. I don't have the money for that, and I was upset.
Yeah, I've actually thought about the 5 billion thing, and I'm like, I'm sitting at like 6.5 billion or something like that. I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be purchased, but
Well, the other thing is like maybe you get a discount if you're one of the original founders, or maybe if you buy a Federation fleet carrier and you have max rep with the Federation. Maybe that's, how you can get full admiral or king. Mm-hmm. Maybe like if you're just at like Duke, you could get, or maybe there's no rep, but I mean, maybe there's a discount of like saying like, oh, well, this is an Imperial fleet carrier, and if you're a king, you get like half off, or like, I don't know, something.
Well, what I'm curious is I'm wondering like if you like can I go buy it at Li Yongru and get it for like 4.5 bill?
Yeah, he always does the discount. So
Yeah.
that could be. It could be, or if you get it, from
What is it, Jameson with a flat 10%?
Jameson has a 10%. There's also there's that wiki of like all the systems that have like, there's legit, if you get high enough rank in prestige in the CQC, you can get a lot of modules and stuff for like 20% off. Maybe if you get a CQC fleet carrier, you get like some extra discount.
This is another thing too. I'm curious about like I wonder how they're going to appear. Like, are you going to be inside of Jameson? You buy it and you fly outside. Up there's your fleet carrier. I wonder how that's going to work.
So, I mean, a fleet carrier is massive, so it's going to have to be a thing where you go to a place. Remember, like we've seen shipyards in stuff around Elite Dangerous where it's like, oh, here's that shipyard that has this or shipyard that has that. I bet you it's going to be like, oh, you have to go here. Or it could be like the shipyard is someplace off screen, and then it's like, I ordered it, and then like, okay, your crew will be arriving with your pizza at this day.
That would be disappointing.
So I looking on the Twitter where they posted the Twitter. I'm an old man here. Looking at Twitter where they posted some of these screenshots. There's no way that damn thing's fitting through the mail slot. There's just no way.
That's like a joke, right? Yeah, no, that's not a thing that would be in any way possible.
Yeah.
All right, so the next thing. The price. So the thing is, there could be lower because of discounts. It could be higher because of modules, or I don't even know if it's going to be modules or if they're going to call it some other name or whatever. But like, I mean, obviously it's not like you're getting like, oh, give me a 6A fuel scoop. Like it's something different, but like maybe it's an equivalent of that, like a 6,000A fuel scoop for,
or
well,
a
not
bigger
fuel
frame
scoop,
shift drive big enough to do the 500.
Yeah. Yeah, man. What if you could like, oh, hey, I want mine to have the extended jump range or something like that. We'll have to see what those bring.
What if you can engineer it?
Oh, crazy. All right. Fleet carriers are individually owned and feature 16 landing pad parentheses of varying size for other players to dock at. Now, we know from the old fleet carrier pictures and the old stuff that they had that it was 4 small, 4 medium, 8 large. That's what they were before. We don't know if they've been rejiggered, but I think in some of the pictures, they look the same. Some of the pictures look similar to the pictures that we had before. So I'm thinking it's still 8, 4, and 4.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the screenshot right now. If this is still the one that's posted off of Twitter. If this is still the screenshot, I count 8 large, 2 medium, 2 small on one side, which I can only assume it's mirrored on the other side. So it'd be
So 8, 4, 4.
Yeah.
The other thing that you take from that statement is for other players to dock at. So if we know that other players can dock at your base, and we know that there are 16 landing pads, here's something that occurs to me, guys. Have they done any back-end work, you think, with regard to like around fleet carriers or whatever, to give it some kind of a super capacity or super status on servers that make, because to me, having 16 players that close together interacting with a thing is like, ooh, that's a lot. So maybe they've done some back end work on their capabilities that will pay off dividends in the future for like people doing things together. Because if you literally have 16 ships interacting with one big ship, that's a lot of sort of interactions there.
So let's think about this for a minute. We know during I want to say it was like the January patch, or somewhere around there, they did a great big. They specifically addressed the rubber banding of ships around.
They did,
which, you know, so to do that, they have to address some of the net code. I got a feeling they cleaned up a lot of that net code. Just a guess, because I've experienced very little rubber banding, which I'm not entirely sure wasn't on my side, because I was, you know, streaming a bunch of stuff too. So it's entirely possible it was actually on my end as well.
Yeah,
no,
maybe
I think it has cleaned up a lot.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like we've had 16 people in an instance before when we were doing that Sidewinder nonsense.
Easily, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking like that's like it's really tight. Like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm happy. I don't
right.
think they put it out with it not being able to function. So yeah, it looks good. Okay. Well, the other thing that we get from this is okay, this is confirmation, and we kind of had, I think, previous discussion with regard to it, but this is direct confirmation. Other players can dock at your ship, which again, when you take that and you put it with the tariffs, as mentioned before, and you put it with the markets, as mentioned before, now there's no reason to say, well, like, how do you even know other players can go to your fleet carrier? Like, we know because they said it right there.
I think it always would have been very silly if they couldn't.
I agree. I agree. But this is it's a matter of between what you know or what you assume and what you can prove. And this
what
is
you know, and what you don't know, you know.
Well, so my question with this is like, we still don't quite know, like, when you log out, is your fleet carrier persistent? Like if I don't go to work, are you still going to be able to interact with my fleet carrier while you're there?
They said that yes, your fleet carriers are persistent and indestructible, and only one per instance. But to
That's
be
old
clear,
information at this point,
all three of those statements were the ones that were made months ago, which we don't have confirmation that information is still accurate. It was accurate from their mouth at one point, but we don't know.
Right.
Obviously, it's been rejiggered, so who knows?
I think it's still kind of. I don't think there's a problem with any.
Accurate.
Right. There's no problem with any of that.
No, I believe that
the
it's
fleet
all
carrier
still,
itself will be an instance,
but it is not explicit. That is not explicitly stated here. It was the case.
So let's extrapolate this for just a minute. Let's go back to the leak for the 2020 update where they talked about base building.
Okay.
And let's look at the fact that FDev wanted to have someone on hand who could do AI vehicles, ground vehicles. Mm-hmm. And let's also look at that the ARCS leak with the base labels that they were talked about there. You take that information, you take the fact that we think fleet carriers will be persistent. They've basically said that we're going to have a player economy here, our player trading here. I think that this is basically what we're looking at for base building for the 2020 update. Is what I think. I think that they are laying in tools. Yeah, these are the tools for it, and then you factor in stuff like all of the all of the system states that they put in with the January update, with blight and not famine, drought and
famine's
disaster. What was it? Famine they put in? I can't remember. Anyway,
well, no, you mean famine was an older one, right?
No, yeah,
Right,
famine
right,
had already
right.
existed. There was blight, infrastructure failure,
Public holiday,
terrorist attack. Yeah, all the new ones they put in.
And there was
point
like
is,
act of God or something. It was like a natural disaster.
Yeah. They put in all this stuff. This all feels like that for the 2020 update. man, it really looks like we're getting base building, because if your fleet carrier is going to be persistent, there's no reason to think that your base won't be persistent at this point.
So
that you carve
just to
out some
clarify,
land on a planet or moon, and that's your base.
So just to clarify or to point out, I just want to make sure that we don't steer anybody wrong. Unless I'm mistaken, that job listing was for a person to design AIs to drive around vehicles planet side. Right. I think that it specifically said planet side. I just want to make sure that we're not, like, if someone's like, you're going to say we're having cars drive around on our fleet carriers? Like, no. But I think the biggest thing that you didn't include there is what they say in this exact letter, where it says, you know, we've done this by adding more loadout options that make your carrier unique and allow for player interaction. So you're literally sort of like Legoing bits onto your fleet carrier to build it up to do stuff. That to me is just a movable base. So yeah, I dig that, and I don't want to. I don't know, the leak thing. It's like I'm so sick of the leak. But yeah, I the other thing that leads me to think about that is, like, if you're gonna have bases, they only can serve a couple of purposes. One of which is, you know, just vanity item. The other would be, you know, storing stuff, gathering stuff, and producing stuff. So either and what this here to me with this we have a flying base that has a market. Well, as Ty said, if it has a market, it kind of has to be able to sell stuff. It has to have some purpose.
Inventory.
I think there's enough here that we can definitely say that this lays the groundwork for being able to generate passive income within the game, which is a precursor for all kinds of other things, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's explicit. They say in there that you set the prices on the market and you have tariffs. So even if I'm logged out, if you come over and you want to buy and sell shit off of my ship, you got to cut daddy in on a taste. I need some cheddar over here.
What's the vig, man? What's the vig?
That's if you owe money to a loan. I'm gonna have to explain that and babies to you.
I don't know criminal stuff, man.
Tell us how it works.
All right.
Yeah.
So basically, if you make a bet and you can't cover the the next thing.
Anyway,
all right,
tritium.
So fleet carriers use a new fuel, tritium, to jump from system to system. I have tritium right here in this room with me. I have very small amounts on my watch dials. If you have nice watches, they have the tritium on the hand so they glow in the dark, but it's super, super radioactive. And I'm thinking that I'm going to need more than just what's in my watch dials in order to make it go. I'm still holding on to what I've said all along. I hope to God that we get tritium from the asteroid belts that are in the beginning of the planets, or in some way we scoop it from gas giants or something. But we'll have to see what, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, I actually have tritium right here too. I actually have the tritium sights on my AR here. I know rifle. And I have a tritium red dot, which works wonderful because that way you don't have to worry about batteries.
Yep.
But tritium is used not.
You don't have to worry about it for a couple thousand years, but then you're going to need
it. Batteries, half-life. What's the difference?
Yeah. So tritium was hydrogen 3. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
I think that's right.
A proton and 2 neutrons.
Yeah, I think it's so. This is interesting to me. So, like, I want to say tritium. I know tritium is extremely rare on Earth, and I think it's a gas, isn't it?
I think
room temperature
can be, but they treat it in order to put it, like, because I have the same thing on my XDM and my Glock. I've got the tritium sights, so yeah, they can treat it and turn it into a thing that they're able to
a glowy thing that lets us shoot people. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So looking at this, jump from system to system, but it doesn't really tell us where we get it from yet. We do know, and now this is old information, but we do know at one time from them that you can mine it, which, you know, who knows, gas giant mining, asteroid belt mining, mining from metallic rings, mining from icy rings, mining from some kind of thing, or you could buy it from certain stations. They did say back in the day, certain stations. And they did say very clearly, not for ARX. This is for in-game money only, this is not a pay to win. Fleet carriers have a max jump range of 500 light years at one time with the ability to jump whenever the owner wants. However, they will have a buildup and a cooldown period between jumps. So we know that they can jump 500 light years maximum at a time. We don't know how much the tank holds. It could be 500 light years and I can make 10 jumps. So it's a 5,000 light year tank, or it could be 500 light years and then you got to fill it up. We don't know.
That would be crummy.
But we also know that you schedule somehow. They told us before, and again, this might be where maybe you're flying the fleet carrier now, but they told us when they originally came up with the concept that you were not flying it, you managed it executively. So that would mean to me, like you go into the galaxy map and you say, go here, and then it goes there, but you never actually get to get behind the wheel and fly it around. Right. And we know that they have a build-up and a cool-down period between jumps. So before they said it doesn't just go on the tick, you can go whenever, which they're confirming here because they say jump whenever the owner wants. Right. But
we don't know how long. We don't know how long the
cooldown time is 2 minutes. Maybe that build-up cooldown time is a day. We don't know. We'll find out, I assume, on the second.
This is what kind of worries me about this. The cooldown period. We don't know what the cooldown period is. What worries me is that it's going to be like the Gnosis, where they have like a week-long cooldown period before they can do a jump. And you want to tell you? Let me tell you something. I don't want to spend 5 billion credits on is give me a week before I can do another jump. That's going to drive me crazy if they do something like that. I really hope they don't do that. I really hope the cooldown period is like, at the very least, at the most, a day. I would like to think it's like 5-minute cooldown or something, you know?
Yeah, I think that if they were to make the cooldown period a week, you would find that half of the market would say, no thanks. So I don't think they did all that work to make this cool, sexy new thing to have people go, no thanks. It's already going to be hard for people to afford 5 billion. People are going to have to work at it. It's going to be aspirational. I have faith that they're going to make it something nice that it's like, okay, I can still do a bunch of shit with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's 500 light years. It's tough to imagine this being something that you're going to use to explore. It would like support exploration, right? It's not going to be like a fast way to get across the galaxy because it's so big.
Yeah, no.
Well, I mean, I still like kind of what I envision doing is like, okay, I'm going to go here and I'm going to set my fleet carrier to meet me here. And I guess, whatever the cooldown time is to get there, I'm guessing it's going to be a day. I don't know. I'd like to think it's shorter, but I really hope it's not a week. But we'll just say a day for them to move it. So it takes a week to go. What is 7 times 5? It takes a week to go 3,500 light years. So basically, in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I'll meet you out. Halfway to Sag A or whatever. But basically, whenever I get it where I want, I'm going to explore around it in 500-year bubbles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then move it 500 light years and then explore around it 500-year bubbles and then go from there.
But 500 is just not that far compared to what we're doing in exploration.
No. 500 is massively far when you think of it this way, Trax. You're thinking 500 linear. Now take 500 and make it in a 3-dimensional 500 light year cube. That's thousands and thousands and thousands of systems that you would have to scan. That'll take you a month, much less a week. And then you just jump it 500 light years and do another cube. But the other thing to keep in mind, look, we're looking at it right now. We're 3 guys out on an expedition. So it makes sense that our brain is immediately ticked to expedition.
I'm covering linear distance.
But look at it from the standpoint of like a trader or a guy that wants to do, extra stuff like bounty hunter wants to like use it or whatever. Like you could, all right, here's a thought. let's say you go to Baran and just park right there. And then you're like, hey, you guys want to buy my limpets? Come buy my limpets. They're 1,000 fucking a piece. Which if guy doesn't have to go all the way out to a station or whatever, that you might get people buying, you know, a billion limpets at 1,000 credits a piece. And then, while you're here, dump off your stuff at my market here. I'm buying low temperature diamonds for, you know, say
I've got
half
extra
the
low
price.
tariffs on my diamonds.
Yeah, I'm buying low temperature diamonds for like half the price, because I set the price, half the price of what the market is at the farthest place, but it's about equal to what you would get around here. And then I just sit there all week. And even when I'm not there, when I'm at work, it's just selling limpets for crazy high money and buying diamonds for crazy low money. And then I jump that fucker all the way across the bubble, 500 light years away, to the best sales spot. I talked to somebody, I got a buddy who's like just jumped out there and said, yeah, man, they're offering this much and they got a crazy high demand. And then I just go, and because I'm still not bringing in the carrier, so I just go, I fill up my ship, and I can fill up a nice little one, you know, so that I fill up a, you know, say a Python. So I've got like 170 tons. I just go back and forth, and every time when the system scans me, the station scans me, it's like, oh, he's only got 170 tons in his cargo. Give him the high price. And I just, you know, work it all week, man. The 500 light years, that's the other thing to keep in mind. 500 light years basically takes you from one end of the bubble to the other.
Yeah, that's what I was about to bring up.
That's like I'm picturing like gas stations across the street from each other, right? So it's like, you know, find some fleet carrier with tariffs that are a little bit high, and park next to them and lower your tariffs
2 cents less.
Yeah, like just a
2
little
cents
bit
a
less.
gallon's less. Come get my gas.
Yeah,
I can tell you right now, I foresee I foresee. I mean, we're guessing here based upon what is told here, but I foresee like me parking outside of a refinery, like, hey, you know, you want to sell your shit here? Just saying, you might be able to make a little bit better profit here, man. And me take some VIG off that, you know. I'm still not using that right, am I?
No, VIG is the tax you have to pay when you can't cover your bet. So it's the points. That's the VIG. Okay. Yeah, this is not. I don't know shit. Yeah, it's okay. You're talking about what you're talking about is like a call margin or like different.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So they also say you can manage your carrier's financing by setting tariffs. Okay, we already hit this part. The tariffs could be on landing, it could be on repairing, it could be on refueling, it could be on selling stuff, it could be on buying stuff. What if you look? Imagine it's a situation where it's like, hey, you know, I've got a bunch of fuel scoops on my thing, and I just put a price tag on my shit and be like, hey, look, if somebody wants to, these are for me to use, but if somebody wants to way overpay for them, yeah, fucking sell it. Yeah.
Sure.
And then the commodities market. So, all right, let's get to the elephant in the room here. Buying and selling prices for commodities traded in its market. Now, this is the question. This is the pilot versus the exegesis whole raging debate. We had the discussion on our show a month or two ago about this exact thing. And once you bring in a player economy, you know, what are the limits on this? Like, maybe I can set the price, but it's like within a certain margin or something, because, you know, if I can set the price of, you know, like, let's say, you know, I'm playing and like I've been playing this game for forever, and Ty is my brother, and he just started playing today, and he's got his, you know, brand new Sidewinder, and he's like, okay, what do I do? And I'm like, okay, come to my fleet carrier before you leave the station, whatever your station is in. What do they sell there? And you're like, they sell bio waste. And I'm like, all right, cool. buy 4 tons of bio-waste. You have 4 cargo slots, right? Yeah. Okay, cool. So you come to my station, and while you're there and I'm there and we're both online, I say, all right, buy the next 4 tons of bio-waste at, $2 billion a pop. And then he's like, okay. And then just boom, sells 4 tons of bio-waste. And now you got a guy, brand new player in a Sidewinder, sitting there with 8 billion credits,
Sure.
That's gonna be there. So I am on the side of the pilot on that whole debate. I always was. I like the idea of dynamic player markets. I like the idea of being able to help out friends. I like the idea of being able to make extra money because I'm smart and I go to the right places and yada, yada, yada. But there are people on the other side of that argument that are going to take offense to the fact that now some small number of players out there in the world are going to be able to, do some stuff, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I suppose I don't see that as being super major. I feel like the big money is going to be in parking next to somebody's gas station.
Maybe, yeah. Or the other side of it, doing the Seth Bullock and Star, doing the Deadwood, where you just show up and you're selling limpets at crazy prices.
Yeah. There have been easier ways to help somebody get started quickly. Dumping some void opals in front of their Sidewinder has been a fast way to do it. And, I don't know. I don't think this changes that, but yeah, maybe.
I mean, I don't know.
So this is what I'll say. Kind of going back to the Xegious pilot debate, which I really could not settle upon. The more I thought about it, I go back to World of Warcraft, and because that's the biggest thing I have example of, and actually probably the biggest thing I have example of is the capitalist society that I live in, and that. Yeah, there's some bad things that go on, but by and large, the capitalist free market is the best way for things to work. Yeah, there's definitely some bad and shady things that happen, but it works. And we haven't come up with a better system yet. So when I apply that to World of Warcraft, that is a capitalist system. People make goods, they mine goods, they gather goods, and then they sell them. And, when you look at adjusting, buying and selling of commodities, trade it in its market, when you look at the fact that, they're basically saying, they're not flat out saying, of course, but they're basically saying, we're going to have a market on this fleet carrier. That's going to have to be a player-driven market. And I really like the idea of a player-driven market because, yes, there's going to be some bad. Yes, there's going to be people that's going to take advantage of it. Yes, there's going to be people that do things that are questionable or shanky or bad or whatever, or buying credits from people or from, black market style. But I think overall it's going to be a good thing. And I think that's where we have to look at it from.
Maybe, man. I fall on that side of the debate. I agree with you in the sentiment, but we can't get ahead of ourselves. It's not April 2nd yet. For all we know, Trax is right. And all of this stuff on setting the prices of the market and tariffs and whatever, it might be that applies to the NPCs or if I can set the prices for a commodity, it might say like, no, dude, you can't charge more than 500 credits for bio waste. That's there could be limiters or something on this that we're not aware of yet, where it says like, once you get to whatever 5 times what we think is the value that is supposed to be for a commodity, that it like puts a hard cap and says, nope, that's the higher you go, or that's the lowest you go. So we don't know yet for sure, and we won't until either April 7th, or I'm guessing some of these fine details. I'm sorry, I said April 2nd is what I meant. April 2nd is when they're going to do the thing. April 7th is when is the PC beta. And at that point, all of our questions will be answered. Because, there's only so much that we can... What?
No, I was going to say probably we'll be able to have questions answered in the chat on the 2nd,
sure.
but we'll make new questions for the 7th.
Sure.
Yeah.
But then on the 7th, we will know everything.
We're just completely speculating here anyway. We're just guessing. So
I think for sure it's a people market. I think
it would
so
be
too,
so
but boring
you
for
made
it
a
to be just
point.
NPCs. I just don't think it's totally confirmed.
If it's an NPC market, that seems very flat, and I don't know if I really want to spend money on that. Or spend credits on that rather. I just don't know if that seems kind of meh,
Dull.
Yeah. So I would hope that they are putting in a player-driven market. I think that's a great idea, and I hope that that's what they're doing. I don't know that's what they're doing, but I mean, just judging from the wording of this stuff here.
Oh yeah, I agree.
That's what I think.
I agree that to me, I'm 90% sure based on this. It's like it works through in my mind between the stuff we already knew and the stuff that they're telling us now. Like it makes sense. And also too, here's the other reason why it makes sense to me. I'm looking at this and saying, what would be the coolest, most dynamic way that this could be? Because they did a lot of work here, I think, and we won't know for sure until after the fact. If we can get Steven drunk and have him tell us the whole story, he might say like, oh yeah, they were absolute shite the first time or whatever. They were too strong or too weak or too something. But obviously there was a problem. They were too much or too little. And I think based off of what we're seeing here, at least from the last iteration between December till now, in December we had 8 types and they had very specific loadouts, and that's what it is. And now we have more modularity. We have, like in December, we didn't hear shit about tariffs or what do you call it? Like setting up your own market costs. Like we didn't hear anything about there being a market on the ship. So like, I think from December to now, there was a massive ramp up and these things got more awesome. Well, if you're doing a massive ramp up and making something more awesome, leading that into things like, okay, we're going to have a player economy that is just players versus NPCs and does not in any way involve each other. That doesn't match logically, and that doesn't match when they say right in the system or right in this message, allow for player-to-player interaction like you've never seen before. Yep. To me, what's the player-player interaction that we've never seen before in Elite? Player market.
Economy. Yep.
We've never seen that in Elite. And I think that's what we're about to see. And
I agree.
Yeah.
I look forward to it come the 2nd. And I look forward to it even more come the 7th.
Yep. So, so the 2nd is when we get the announcement. The PC beta will begin on April 7th. It doesn't say how long it's going to run for. I really hope they run it longer than 4 days.
I think for sure they're going to run it. I would be shocked if they run it for anything less than 2 weeks. I think they're going to run it because I feel like a dick saying this, but like I kind of feel like that 4-day one was almost just a direct like, okay, you petitioners, you demanded a beta, here's your beta. Oh,
That's
look,
exactly
nobody did it. That's what I feel. That's what I've always felt. But this is different.
Exactly what it was.
This is different. This is not we have to give you your thing because you threw a tantrum and we told you we would. So, okay, here it is in name only. I feel like this is going to be a real beta. Maybe a week, but I would think 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. I think they're going to do a lot of work. I like the fact that the first one is in the very beginning of April. Like that's soon. Okay. Mm-hmm. But that gives them like they said the first one's going to be in the very beginning of April and the second one will take place in May, unspecified. Didn't give an exact date. I like that because if they do the first one in April 7th, and let's say it goes for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, right? Or a week, whatever. That gives them a lot of data, because unlike the last beta that not a lot of people, I don't think, participated all that much in, this beta, I guarantee you, everybody and their dog is going to be fucking logged in and like, oh, you're giving me free 5 billion credits? Boop, boop, boop. I bought a fleet carrier. Let's see what it does. Like, because I think they're going to give just everybody, like, here's 5 billion free credits. Get your own fleet carrier, test it, break it, tell us what works, tell us what doesn't. Like,
and they're giving themselves such a wide time gap to work on
between
stuff
the two
afterwards too. Yeah, it makes it clear that they're taking it seriously.
Yes, because that means that they can meaningfully take all of that data that they collect on the April 7th one and really crunch a lot of numbers and pull apart the complaints and the issues that arise. And hopefully put out a very different and more refined and streamlined product in May. I'm sure it's going to be pretty cool just on April 7th, but because they've had time to work on this. But like, there's no substitute for giving it to a million monkeys to rip it apart and break it 90 different ways. And you just can't substitute that. And we are happy to be their monkeys and rip it apart and find out all the stuff. And then in May, you know, maybe it's end of May, maybe it's whatever. And then again, then they have like a good, you know, couple weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever. We don't know if this is coming out first week of June, last week of June, whatever. But they say June. The last thing I'm going to recommend to everybody is they say right on here, these timeframes may change slightly in the coming weeks. Do not like lose your shit if the April 7th beta doesn't happen. That if it's like, oh, well, actually this happened and we're pushing it back and it's not going to be till April 12th or whatever. Like, this is all sort of fluid. It's coming very, very soon. April 2nd is next Thursday. April 7th is 5 days after that. This is all coming super, super, super soon. Be happy. Be flexible. If it takes a little rejiggering this way or that way, give them the benefit. Also, keep in mind, they had not originally planned for this whole rollout to be going on during, you know, the stay-at-home apocalypse. Like, so just have some understanding for all of that.
So I think we're going to wind down the fleet carrier conversation until we have some more information. So, because I think we've speculated enough on that.
I think we've pulled every last bit of gristle off this bone. I don't think there's anything left for us to pull apart.
The one thing I'll say about it is that I like the way they did this. I like the way they have phrased the beta and the fact that they have themselves aiming for June for a launch. It feels like, I mean, I think you're right. I think they got a lot of time to tweak and turn the dial, so to speak. Mm-hmm. I'm also curious, and I was trying to look for it real quick, but I could not find it. Did you guys by chance see anywhere where they said that they will also include some of the patches that they've been working on? Because at one point they said that they were going to roll. Yeah, they did say that. Okay.
So Stephen Benedetti and I believe Will Flanagan, both within the last month, have posted on the forums saying, just to clarify, this fleet carrier launch will also include a round of bug fixes. They said something about to the extent of the reason why they're doing it this way instead of releasing the bug fixes like this month or in May was because whenever they do a major rollout, it takes time and money for them to just put out anything. So it's better to squeeze them both in one. It's more efficient.
Yeah, and I could see them doing that. I remember them saying that. I just don't remember them saying anywhere after they did this today that they were going to include the bug fixes that they had planned. But I'm assuming that it's included with it. I don't know that it's including with it because we don't have patch notes. So
yeah, I think that's the kind of thing that we can expect. Honestly, I think we could probably expect that next week because if the beta for the fleet carriers for the PC is April 7th, I would think that it just makes logical sense that the beta for the bug fixes would be, again, as they said,
April 7th,
it's more economical to roll them together. So I would think we'll probably see that next week.
Yeah, I would assume so as well. I'm kind of expecting we get patch notes on the 2nd to where they tell us what's coming on the 7th, but
yeah, I think so. I think so.
So the other thing I wanted to cover, and we can go through this pretty quick, is I've been asked about 4 times in the last couple of weeks, and I think Trax has been asked about 4 or 5 times in the last couple of weeks by different people, what VR headset we use and why we use it, or what we think is the best.
And how much they paid us to say so.
Exactly. And so Valve has sent me the millions of dollars. No.
It's actually war going on. See, Valve paid him and Facebook paid me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do this in 2 parts. One, I'm going to do this I'm going to do the one that I think is the best quality. Then I'm going to do the one that I think is the best one that everyone should purchase. And then I'm going to do the one that I actually have, because there are 3 different ones. I know, it's crazy. And then
Wait, you said I'm going to do this in 2 parts, and then you proceed to list 3 parts.
Yes. Well, welcome to the South.
Fair enough.
I ran out of toes, man. Okay. So the best premium experience, far as quality goes, is the Valve Index. I have gotten the opportunity to actually try one of these out. They are ridiculously good quality. Here's the caveat with that. They just, the whole headset, it just kind of hovers just inside me wanting to recommend it. Last I heard, this thing was like $900 or something like that, $1,000. I can't remember what the actual price is.
I think the kit, by the time you get all the pieces, because it's not an inside-out tracking situation, you have lighthouses. So I think the full kit, like the base kit for what you need to get started, is like $1,000.
Yeah, and I want to say the controllers are extra. I can't remember if the controllers.
That has to be included though, because you would need that to play games.
Yeah, maybe. I can't remember. I mean, you're probably right. I can't remember.
Maybe I should look it up.
Yeah, it has an AMOLED screen. The resolution is 2880 by 1600. It's got a 120 hertz refresh rate. It can actually experimental go up to 144. It's got a 130 degree field of view. I just saw it right here. It does come with the Index controllers. So there you go.
Yeah. That field of view is what's going to make it feel different, because a lot of the VR headsets, until you get to specific ones that have a wider field of view, have a kind of it's almost like kind of squarish when you really come down to it. It doesn't feel like that really when you're wearing it, but I think if I put on one of these wider ones and then switched back, I would be like, oh shoot, now I see it,
Well, I'm actually a diver, and the best example I can give is it's like wearing a set of goggles, it's what it's like, it's like a full face mask goggles, but it's what it's like. You put your hands up kind of around your eyeballs, so you can't really see to the left or right. You have little to no peripheral vision for most of the other headsets. But with the Index, you get really good peripheral vision. And I can also say that the screen door effect is nearly unnoticeable. And it really is the best quality headset out there. It's ridiculously priced, and I do not recommend it because of the price.
Exegius keeps extolling I think it's HP Reverb, which is
so too, yeah.
I think it's significantly higher resolution even than that. So if you were going to say like one is, and I don't know if the build quality feels different or something like that, and I don't think it has a particularly wide field of view, but it's just that the resolution is very, very high. I've never had an Index or the Reverb in my hands, but I think that one might be the highest resolution from still being a consumer facing product.
Right. And I have not tried out a Pimax, but I know that the Pimax is supposedly 4K resolution.
Well, there's like a bunch of different versions. There's like 5K and 8K and stuff like that.
Yeah. And they also said that the Pimax also has like a full 180-degree field of view. I can tell you right now that headset looks huge and uncomfortable, even though people say it's not that bad. The other thing about it is that Pimax has actually come out and said that they lied about the 4K resolution. It's not true 4K resolution, even though they said it was. It's like a 1080p that's up converted is what it really is. And okay. I've also been told that the Pimax screen door effect is really thick, like it's really noticeable. I don't know. I have not tried out a Pimax, but I know some people are going to say, hey, have you heard of the Pimax? I can tell you right now, I've read some good reviews about it, but most of the stuff I've read is that it's a little hype and not really accurate. So the one that I'm actually currently recommending to purchase is actually the Oculus Quest. And the reason why I say that is because the Oculus Quest is not the one that I use, but it kind of is the same one that I use. So the Oculus, it kind of is. Last I heard, the 64 gig Oculus Quest was like $300. But, you can't use it with your PC. You can, because the PC Link, if you get the connector, I'm sorry, it actually is $399. I just looked it up. So if you're comparing the Quest to the Rift S, I recommend getting the Quest. And the reason why is because the Quest can be portable. Or if you get the PC Link and you plug it into your PC, all of a sudden it's just as good as your Rift S, as far as quality goes and everything.
Okay. Have you seen a review that said that the PC Link is working and it's like flawless?
I was coming to that.
Okay.
So I have not seen a PC review that has said that. I have seen that people say that it looks good. People say that it's high quality. People are saying that it's just as good. Now, I have not seen a review and I have not got a chance to try it out. But right now, with the promise of it being, with the fact that it is wireless, with the promise of it being able to be plugged into your PC, kind of have the best of both worlds, so to speak, I think that it's the one to choose right now. And plus, the Rift S is a little harder to find right now. So,
yeah, that's true. So I am highly skeptical that the PC Link is working as well as they say. The deal is like it can never be exactly the same as a Rift S because the Rift S actually has a dual cable. It's using a DisplayPort and a USB. Now, they could, I think, have the same data throughput with a USB-C cable that the Oculus Link uses for the Quest, but it is still going over one cable, which is a single controller on your computer. And I don't know. There's differences, and all the reviews have said like there's maybe a little bit more lag than there should be compared to a Rift S, and and some things weren't working entirely. So it's sort of like games are coming on as compatible bit by bit. But if there's a little more lag, that is the sort of stuff where if somebody has any kind of sensitivity to VR, that's what's going to set you off. Because it's the lag that's the issue. Like you have to have your frame times be like so low before for it to feel right to your head and not make you feel sick if you're inclined to feel sick. It also has 10 frames per second lower refresh rate, but it has an OLED screen instead of an LCD, so the black levels should be better. Right. It's heavier because it's containing more computer equipment in there. The Rift S doesn't have to contain any processors to speak of, not the same kind of processors anyway. So there's comfort issues. Technically, it has fewer tracking cameras. The controllers are the same, right? Yeah. Right. So anyway, yeah, I get it, but I would be a little. I don't think I don't know if somebody's expecting it to be a PC VR headset on the level of the other things that we're just comparing it to, as far as compatibility and functioning flawlessly. I don't I've not heard that it's there yet. I think you'd be disappointed and you might end up waiting a year or two before it really gets there, assuming it ever does.
And here's the thing. It's real hard for me to say, get the Quest over the Rift S, because I have the Rift S and I love my Rift S, and I have not been able to try a Quest, but I have read nothing but good things about it. Now I know what you mean, but I've read some reviews where people said that the tracking's not quite as good, but then I've also read that after they do the firmware update, that it kind of fixes that. Mm-hmm. So I don't really know, but if you want if I were to give the Rift S like an 8 out of 10, I would probably say the Quest, because the fact that it can do both theoretically.
The mobility, yeah.
Right. Is like an 8.1. They're so close. It's really hard.
Yeah, it would be fun. And I made cable hangers across the ceiling of my room so that when I'm playing non-seated VR games, I can do it comfortably and have it not be a total pain. And all that goes out the window, right? If you're playing, Beat Saber can be played without a computer. So, and it's essentially the same game. So for those, it's definitely the product to go for if all you want to play is Beat Saber. But obviously, we're doing Elite Dangerous right now. So
yeah, honestly, if I'm going to go with the best one for Elite Dangerous, I'm still going to say it's the Rift S, even with the black issue that people say, the blacks look red. I don't really notice it that much. I mean, I guess maybe if you're looking at a complete black screen, but I mean, you're looking at nebulas and stuff. How often are you really looking at a complete black screen? Stars and nebulas is what I see.
I don't have a super high quality flat monitor to compare it to, but the blacks don't really look any better than they do on my monitor.
Well,
I mean the other way around, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I actually got a ridiculous monitor. The blacks look amazing in it, and I can tell you that I don't notice it. Now, it could just be because I'm old and don't see it. Like I said, I had to pull up the freaking font size on my damn phone earlier. So, but pound for pound, I think that the Rift S is probably the best one for Elite Dangerous. Now, the best one all around, I still would probably say is the Quest, simply because of the mobility on it. But that's like I said, 8 versus 8.1. There's not a 10. Like people have asked me, well, what's the 10? There's not a 10.
Yeah,
because
wait
it
a
doesn't
couple
exist.
of years.
Yeah. I know Oculus is working on eye tracking stuff, which I can explain that into far more detail later if you ask me. But the eye tracking stuff will be game changing for VR.
And the stuff that NVIDIA is doing with, I forget what it's called, but basically they super sample the center circle of the image and downsample the rest to gain extra performance. That's going to be humongous as it keeps passing out to more and more games, becoming compatible, because you even with wide field of view, you're only seeing clearly what's in the center. And then, so then take that to the next step and have it be tracked and so on.
Well, one of the reasons why VR is so heavy on the computer is because it has to render every possible thing around you at the same time. Like when you're playing a game, it basically renders your viewport and then like 20 degrees out from either side. I
would clarify. I mean, I don't know. Should we go too much further into VR? But VR's hard on your computer. It's harder than you think it's going to be if you haven't tried it already.
Right. And even the simplest looking games are really taxing your PC, and you don't even really realize it. So.
It is more than drawing the game twice.
Right. It's like it gets exponentially. I want to say it's like to the 4th power is what it actually comes down to. So, and that's at like 1080p. So. No, 720p. Sorry, there's no 1080p. So, anyway, what else you got on that, man?
On VR, no, I think you're fine. I've only ever had this one headset, so I have very little to compare it to besides reviews I read.
So I've gotten to try out a number of headsets, and this is mostly because of the two that I purchased, and then a buddy of mine, he has bought a shit ton of them. He buys one, like whenever a new one comes out, he buys one and then turns around, doesn't like it, sells it, and then buys another one, which is crazy, I know, but he's just kind of pissing away money there, in my opinion. But that's what he does, and he's let me try out about 10 different headsets. And I to me, the dollar versus performance, the Rift S is the best one I've tried. Now the Quest, like I said, 8.0 versus 8.1. It's so, the only thing is the mobility, and we're not even 100% sure that it's going to work as people are saying it is. So anyway, I think that's about it.
Sure.
For that. Anybody got anything else? Kai, you got anything else, man? You were real quiet during our VR chat.
Well, if you want to ask the Mexican, I highly recommend. I have Ray-Bans and a Dos Equis, and that's what I know about.
Actual reality.
I found that works well for me. I don't know the VR stuff like you guys do, so like I just sit there and listen and go, oh, that sounds cool. That sounds cool. That also sounds cool. That does not sound as cool, but that sounds cool. So I just muted myself because I had nothing meaningful to say. So I want to give a really heartfelt thank you again to Drew Wagar for the lovely stuff that he did for Evelyn, and for all the guys out there getting screwy around the galaxy, man. Hats off to you. We're having lots of fun. For Patches again, Mazel Tov, bro. That's some cool shit right there. And for everyone, the one thing that I'm gonna recommend that you do this week, go check out the new Sagittarius Eye. It's quarterly. You only get it 4 times a year. It just dropped, and this last week, and it is top to bottom just awesome stuff. So get out there and have some fun with it.
Yeah, it'll entertain you for a while when you have to be locked at home, and it'll point out a bunch of other things to you that then can entertain you further.
Yes.
It's like a never-ending story. I didn't know I was going to say that when I opened my mouth. It surprised even me.
Yeah. So yeah, man, I could not agree with what you're saying more there. Tracks, it always comes down to, for me, if you're bored, then you're boring. I see Jayzod just murking fools. I see Avasa doing awesome stuff with the AXI group. I see Sanderling just flying a ship like you never knew you could. I see Alec Turner doing the same thing with an SRV. This game just provides you with so much stuff, and I think that, and this is just a guess, this is based off of what we've seen in this little letter that they've given us. Dude, I think the future is looking so bright for this game, man. I feel like they've been stonewalling, and now they're going to just slap us all with here, we're over delivering. Enjoy this shit. So I'm excited man. I'm excited for next week. That's it. That's all I got.
I feel good too.
Everybody be excellent to each other and drink a lot of beer because it makes you happy.
Oh, jeez.
Track's final words.
Keep it loose and screwy.
Last thing I want to say is this. Last week was pretty hard for me, and a few of y'all reached out to me, and the ones that I could reply to, meaning that I mentally could handle, I did reply to, and the ones that I didn't know that your thoughts were very much, I'm very grateful for what you said. So don't think I just ignored you. Basically, I handled what I could. So I know my limits. So
sure.
But thank you guys for everybody who reached out to me. Thank you guys very much. And I think that's going to do it, guys. So we will see y'all next time.
For the mug.